because I don't want to bring a kid into this world that I feel I can't take care of, or I can't give attention to, or financially it's going to make it really hard. And we've always said this a lot, is like, we feel like, are we a couple? Because I think certain people in this world have more capacity for more children, just energy, or how their brain processes, or what that looks like. Or aspirations, and that's just like their purpose, and that's what they feel like they're here to do. Like, that's it, right? I think some of us, they're like, what's our capacity?
I just see like pregnant women around, and I'm like, I'm never going to be pregnant again. I'm never going to breastfeed again. I'm never going to have a newborn baby. Like, I can still smell the NICU.
Yeah.
I'm never going to have that. And I wish that I had known that with Sydney, that we were done, because then I would have paid more attention.
You got to be really open. I think we initially were trying to say maybe what the other person said or wanted to hear. I don't think we really were being honest with ourselves at first. I think we were trying to appease the other person versus really going in with, like, what do we want?
So what do you want?
Welcome back to Over Dinner. I'm Jarrod.
And I'm Dr. Nikki.
It started out as conversations regarding relationships, parenting, personal development, and the human experience. Over Dinner turned into this podcast. It did. All right, I'm making fun of her. We did this recording the first time we started the intro. She said it did. I'm like, I think you say it did every time. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just part of, how we do our intro. So I think it's great because it did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right. So welcome back. If you're new to the channel, we're sorry. But please subscribe. Follow us, comment. We're obviously having a really good time and a little delirious. So if you're new to the podcast, we like to tell what we made over dinner. That was part of our request. So tonight we made honey spicy salmon bowls. So we always put the recipe in the show notes. Just get some good fresh water salmon. Cube it up. Toss it. You can toss it in a little tapioca. Make a nice sauce. Tapioca flour.
Okay.
You make a nice sauce that we'll put in the show notes. And you cook it. And who cares? Who cares how you make it? I'll put it in the show notes. Thank you for joining. It's not tapioca flour.
What's tapioca?
It's tapioca, okay? I got it. We're delirious. Anyways, tonight, what we're going to talk about is something I feel like we figured out, but not figured out. It's gone all over the place. So we have 2 children, a 4-year-old and an almost 2-year-old. And we're kind of where we're at. Are we having a third? We're not having a third? Just in general, what kind of things influence that decision? We're going to talk about.
I think a lot of people also, it's like, even have 1, or do we have 2? Is this something that you always envision having? Yeah. How many do you want? Like, does it change once you have 1? What factors? Like,
yeah. And also, frames. You probably had an idea when you were a kid. Like, both of us had an idea of how many we wanted. And then you have kids, then things change. Careers, all this stuff that happens, financials, all these things play an impact into making that decision. So we're not in it, maybe in it.
In what?
Still making that decision?
I think if we're recording this podcast right now, we're probably still in the decision.
We're still in the decision, but we'll talk about all the factors we just talked about and where we are at today. So that's what we thought would be interesting. So I think we have a lot of friends,
people struggle with
a lot
this.
of relationships. Like, how do you know when you're done? Do you know when you're done? I think those are just hard questions.
Yep.
Nikki, let's start with, what did you envision before, when you were growing up? How many kids did you want?
Yeah, well, definitely being an only child, I knew I wanted multiple kids. I wouldn't trade my experience being an only child. I know that's my story. I know it's my parents' story. I don't regret, or I don't have any grievances towards that. And I knew that having multiple children was very important to me as I think about like my adult journey. So I always wanted multiple kids. I'm pretty confident that the number was always 3, but I don't think it was like a firm 3. It was multiple children, But 3 came up because I always thought about just having another one. Like, it wasn't just 2 of them. They had one other person. My mom lost her brother in adulthood. She had 2 brothers. She lost one of them, and I remember that she still had the other one. Like, what happens when one of them...
So that had a big impact on you, just watching, first being an only child, but also seeing your mom experience a loss of a brother, but also have someone there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, it was important to me that they had that. And I think also, now as my parents are aging, being an only child and carrying that weight alone. Like, obviously I have you as my partner, but they're
your parents.
But they're my parents.
Yeah.
And so I'm really envious. Like, I remember when GC, Jarrod's grandmother who passed, she had 3 boys. And all 3 boys they may have been involved in different ways, but they all were involved with mom, like taking care of mom. And they're all doing the same thing with your grandpa. And so I love that. They're just like, it's more community based than just like on one than the other.
Yeah.
So, that was, I just wanted it loud and chaotic and crazy. And I knew how fast it was going to go by.
You always said that you just wanted what you pictured. I think it was not just in the beginning, but as they grow up and start having friends and then get married and all those things, you just want, when it's Thanksgiving and holidays, just a madhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, it's funny because, like, I don't at the same time. Like, I really appreciate just the, like, serene, but I just, what we're experiencing right now is so short-lived that then they'll be independent, they'll be doing their own things, and then we'll want that piece back. And I feel like then you get grandchildren, then you get so many more things come with having a bigger family. Yeah. So
and to counter that, a lot of challenges.
Yeah, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
So that's what I envisioned was multiples, most likely 3. Yep. What about you?
Yeah, it was definitely multiples. I knew I wanted. I have one older sister, but I also loved like our big family gatherings. That's some of my favorite times with my family.
Yeah,
like,
so much fun.
Yeah, there's just so much fun. So I envisioned that. So I wanted to have multiples because I wanted to keep doing that, like us getting together, making food together, music on, just loud Jewish family. It was super fun. So I wanted
lots of traditions.
Yeah, and I love traditions.
Well, you know what I was thinking about today? I know this is such a sideways comment, but I'm ADHD, so I have the right.
Yeah, you're allowed to.
So I was thinking today, so July 4th is my favorite holiday.
Yeah, you always said that.
I've always said that. July 4th is my favorite holiday. And I realized today why.
Why?
Because when I was growing up, I've told you this, my parents threw a huge 4th of July party. There was food and music and people, and like it was every year they did this party. And we were like the house that everyone looked to because we had this very loud music going along with the fireworks. And I loved the holiday. And like being, growing up Jewish, but also celebrating Christmas, I didn't really have a holiday. My birthday is a birthday, right? We didn't celebrate any of the other high holidays, really, and we didn't do Passover. I mean, we didn't do Shabbat. And then when, like, Christmas, like, I didn't do Easter. So I had these holidays, but they didn't really have any meaning or depth to them, like something else. Thanksgiving was always awkward for a multitude of reasons that I'm not going to go into on this episode, but it never felt like it does now, what Thanksgiving feels like. And that's like pretty much all the holidays I can think of, except July 4th, which had major impact on me, which has always been my favorite holiday. And I think it's because of tradition. Tradition,
a lot of people, community.
Family, community. And so like that just comes back to why I'm wanting kind of all of that.
Experience.
Yeah.
To host things and you're thinking more future oriented and what that's going to look like in the future.
Yeah. So this is airing July 9th.
Sure.
Maybe. So, but
Tuesday, whatever Tuesday is of the week after.
Yeah. Anyways.
Well, we're recording this the day before 4th of July.
Yeah, it's July 3rd.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That is the day before the 4th of July. You're right, correct.
Okay, so
cool. So I want a multiple.
Yeah, you loved your family traditions.
Love my family, want a multiple. I don't think the number was very clear, but definitely knew I wanted to be a dad. You know, that was something I was really excited about, so I knew multiple was something I wanted.
Yeah.
Cool. So we had our multiple. We have 2.
Yep.
And why we're recording this episode is because we've been going through the decision to have another, and all the thought processes, pros and cons list we made, going back and forth, and there's so many factors that play into it. So we kind of want to talk about how we're processing probably some similar things that other people are thinking about, but what we're thinking about, the conversations we're having, how we're determining if we do or not. We're still not sure. So that's what we want to talk about tonight. So where you are right now, let's start there. Where are you at this current moment on deciding if we're going to have a third or not?
This week, I want a third.
Cool.
2 weeks ago, I'm perfectly fine with where we're at.
10 hours ago. It just depends how the day goes.
No, it really is like, it really fluctuates for me, but I know it doesn't. So I think like the deep part we were talking about earlier, like how do you know when you're done? They say like, in all these Facebook groups, like all these moms write like and anonymously, like I can't decide if I want a third, like tell me what you guys like, and every single person says you know when you're done. You know it. You just know. You just know. So I'm like, okay, well, if I don't know that I'm not, and if I know that I'm not feeling done, does that mean that I'm supposed to have a third? Because I know that I will be done after a third. Yeah. I know that. Like I know that
You actually don't know.
Well, I don't think I've never wanted more than 3 children.
Yep.
And now that I have 2, I don't want more than 3. But I also feel like, so then the question is like, do you know? Or will I always feel a yearning to be a mother of like...
Because you're also like built to keep yearning to be a mother.
Right. So then it's like, so biologically I'm going to always want to... But I have friends that have 1 child or 2 and they're like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's not even a thought in my mind. And I have a friend who has 1 child and I brought this up to her the other day. And I was like, all my friends out here are having 3. I'm feeling just like I'm supposed to have a third. Like, I don't really know what to do. Do you ever feel this way? She's like, no. Like, never. She goes, I've had a moment or here and there, but then I see somebody who's gone through really bad PPD. Or I've seen somebody who is in the newborn phase and like what postpartum's like. And I don't want that at all. And I'm just like, I feel like I've blocked all that out. And I'm just seeing what my kids are doing right now. And I'm like, this is amazing what they're doing now. Like the baby phase is so short. She's already almost 2.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what it comes down to. The question is like, what factors do you play into it? Is it just your feeling? But then logically, you should go logical and be like, okay, there's other components that, yes, because I don't want to bring a kid into this world that I feel I can't take care of or I can't give attention to, or financially it's going to make it really hard. So some of the things that we've discussed, one for sure, financials, right? You have to think, you can kind of estimate pretty simply how much one extra child will cost. It's a lot of money. So you got to plan for that. And we've always said this a lot, is like, we feel like, are we a couple? Because I think certain people in this world have more capacity for more children, just energy or how their brain processes or what that looks
or
like.
Aspirations.
And that's just like their purpose, and that's what they feel like they're here to do. Like, that's it, right? I think some of us, they're like, what's our capacity? Then thinking about what are our individual goals, because we can't neglect ourselves.
Well, just on that too, is like, we feel right now that we can spend equal amount of time with both children. That I never struggle.
Yeah.
Like, I never feel
that
I
not
can't.
Giving attention.
Yes, I can do individual things with each child and be very present in both things, and that makes me feel good.
Yep.
I don't feel like I've missed anything because I'm there in those with each one. I get my own time. So that's something I'm concerned about, is like, how will my time be split? And now to go back to your point is about aspirations. Why don't you finish your...
Yeah, well, like, there's a lot. Aspirations, there's, as we talked about already, I said earlier, financials, capacity. Do you feel you have the energy, as you said, to give enough to each of those children? For us, we have an extra layer, which is special needs, right? So...
And there's a 20% increased chance of having another autistic child when you already have one.
I wasn't going there yet. I was saying more, we don't know what his needs will look like and how much attention he's going to need from us.
Yeah.
And how many things we need to take him to. right? So
But I mean, he's also like thriving.
oh, he's doing great. But you
don't know.
you don't know, right? You
Yeah.
don't know. And then to that point too, as you get older, just any pregnancy is risky, right? So you as the mom and as a person, like the challenges and health challenges you could face, the child, there's tons of things
Beyond autism.
yeah, beyond autism, there's so many things that could happen that impact that. So, obviously, you can't know at any point when you're having a child if that's going to happen. But having a special needs child, probably think about those things, or any kind of challenge with your children, whatever that is, you're going to think about it more.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to look at all those. And again, for me, it's my capacity. Because it might be a little selfish, but I do think, what do I want? What do I envision my future life to look like as an individual, as in a relationship, and as a father? And what does that look like? I think that's something I think about a lot, right? I think about that. I think about, because of that, will I be able to give, as you said, the right attention, love, presence for that third child, or all of them, because now there's 3, right? So that all those things we've talked about and factored in, right? So when I mention those things, which ones are you thinking about that might be intuitively you feel I want a third kid, but which of those do you start to look at and go, that could cause that could be hard, or that could be a challenge? Which of those things kind of start you going, maybe I'm done, even though my intuition says this, but maybe I'm done because of these factors.
Actually, the one that you didn't mention is what is my biggest reason why we should not.
Which is?
My mental health.
Yeah.
And my ADHD. Like, I feel very confident in saying that my ADHD is worse since I become a mother. And having a third will only add to that. And I did have postpartum depression with both kids. And like, I can't have PPD with 2 young children.
And knowing what that experience is like, that comes into factor. Like, I know I'm most likely going to go through that again.
But the thing is I'm out of that now, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
I know how to take care of myself. I know the signs. I'm on medication. Like, I will have a therapist. Like, I know what to do. And and then I go back to this. So when I had Jake, he was just our first baby. I knew nothing. My second one, I knew a little bit more. And I had just become a mom of an autistic child. So I had all of that to deal with. And so not only was I dealing with postpartum depression, but my son just got diagnosed autistic. So then there's the third one, and I hadn't done any of this personal work. I hadn't done anything until after Sydney was born. So I started working with Heart in September of, like, she was like 6 weeks old. Or no, January. So she must have been like 5 months old, right? So, and then my life changed. Pax died. Like, writing became the center point of everything. So now I go, what do I look like as a mother to another child with all of this foundational work done, with more direction in terms of purpose, of the true trajectory of like where I want to go, understanding my deepest core wounds. Like, none of this had been unearthed.
True.
And I'm not grieving autism in the same way that I once did. Right? So, I mean, I'm sure there'll be other things coming, but I just think that the third time is different because of how much experience I now have.
Yeah. And that's probably true.
It is true.
Oh, for sure. It's probably true. 100%. It's going to be, you're a different person than you were and probably each time in some level you're different. So the experience is going to be different. Yeah. But now that, and I can totally relate to that, doing personal work, you look at things very, very differently, right? You look at everything differently. You look at your kids, experiences, challenges, you kind of look at them from a different lens, and I totally understand that.
It also, when you have 2 that like, you see what happens later.
Yeah.
You see how fast it really goes. So like when you're with your first kid, like, you're just like so in it, like, you don't know what's to come. And like, we had no idea, because obviously our child is autistic. It's like, you have no idea. And then, you know, you just, then all of a sudden he's 2.5 and you're pregnant with your other one. Wait, was he 2.5? No, she was 2.5 when she was born.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, then you have a newborn with a 2.5-year-old, and a whole new thing starts. And now she's almost at the age that he was when she was born. Yeah. So, but I am worried about, I'll be, you know, I'm 36, and I am, although there's so much studies, and I did talk to my OBGYN and saying that, you know, a geriatric, that's what they call a pregnancy after 35, is perfectly healthy if you are healthy. Like, she told me that and that's the other thing, so I'll go back to the complications in a second, is I had mild complications with Jake, just with the preeclampsia, mild preeclampsia at the very end, needing to be induced. Other than that, I had an uneventful pregnancy. I don't even know if I had a real hypertension. In my opinion, it was probably anxiety. But the second one, Sydney was born 6 weeks early. She was born at 34 weeks, which was like, what the fuck? And otherwise, pregnancy wasn't easy.
No pregnancy is easy.
But it was definitely harder than Jake's, for sure. But the doctor told me, like, that's very rare to happen again. And I'd probably go into labor anyways at like 36 weeks. I probably wouldn't even go the whole time unless I was doing okay. And I was in very good health to have another baby. So then I'm like, oh, I could. But then, to what you brought up earlier, is like maternal mortality rate is very high. And in this state is very high. And although we are very privileged to have the access to the healthcare that we do, shit happens. Shit happens. And so I think about leaving my 2 children, or potentially 3, for, you know, to have a third, but complications arise. Is that a selfish decision? You know? So, because, I mean, they need me. So right now, but I mean, I could die anyways another time, but I'm just saying, like, they need me. So I'm present now without having a child. I don't know. It's really complicated.
Yeah,
and
then for you go to, if I don't, will I regret it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that there's all those.
So one thing we came up with was getting a new dog.
That was one solution.
Well, it's like, I think what for me is like, I don't have another thing to take care of right now. Pax is passed, and like his last 6 months of his life was cancer. Yep. So, you know, what does a newborn puppy, 8-week-old puppy, look like, right? And how does that fill my heart? How does that fill my plate? And if it fills that piece, then maybe I don't need another child. I have a question.
So when you had 2 kids and Pax, were you still thinking 3?
Yeah.
You were, okay. So that was just a thought.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was imagining 3 beings around or there was 3 kids.
No, 3 kids.
Okay.
But sometimes that dream fades too. Yeah. Like, I can see it really clearly that it's like only supposed to be the 4 of us.
Yeah. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. So Jarrod's done.
I'm done. I feel done. I do feel, and I don't probably have the same feeling because you're the one that actually bears the children. Or my body, like, you know, that's your mind and your body is connected. Yeah, but I feel, I mean, there's always a thing there because it's fun. It's fun having kids. Like, I'm having a really good time with their age right now.
So imagine you just keep having kids and you never actually have to experience raising them in the same way because you're just still in this, like, you're kind of still in it. Yeah. So a big thing for me is we're leaving this phase. Like, that's been my identity for 4 years, is moving from babies, toddlers, to then raising children.
Yeah. And then, can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Maybe this is the thing, just bringing it up to C, is that also, if you have another kid, it also delays you having to continue to push yourself and put yourself out
that's
there.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like, if I
have another one, though, then I got to stop and slow down and don't have to feel these feelings of being, not knowing what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's good, Nick. That's good shit.
It's hard. I literally go back and forth on this. Sometimes I just want you to get a vasectomy. So that way, like, the decision's just
I'm just going
made.
to do it and not let you know.
The decision has been made.
Yeah. Would you be okay if I just did it? You didn't know?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be mad
So
at
that's
me?
the other thing. Is like, I'm like, I could be
You
good.
could either way.
Yeah. If you were a yes, I'd be a yes. Like, if you were on the fence going yes, I'd still want, I could
So
still
it's on me.
So but because you're a no, I'm leaning no.
So what would you suggest? Let's say a couple friend of ours
Yeah.
asked for advice.
Yeah.
We're not sure. Kind of in the same boat. The guy's like, because I've always was like, oh, at first I was like, what do you want to do, Nikki? Right. And then I got more convicted. And you were kind of more of a no. And I was like, whatever, I can go either way. I felt like that was for a little bit.
No, I've never been a no to 3.
I guess it was always me.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we were kind of on the same boat for a while.
Yeah.
Right? Where we're both like, maybe I could do it or not. And then I committed to the no. Because you kind of forced
I
me.
gotta be honest though, the way you talk does not feel like a no. Like, you say you're no, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like you're still open to it. That's why I feel like the door is still open.
I don't want it to be open.
It feels like it is.
Yeah. Maybe.
See? That's what I'm saying. Like, the door is open to you.
Yes. Back to what you said at the very beginning. Maybe intuitively it's open, or like feeling it's open, but then I play all these other factors, and I'm like, no.
So, like, what is a decision maker? Is it the intuition or logic in a situation like this?
That's the hard part, because both make sense to think about.
Yeah.
I don't think one outweighs the other, right? Because if you have that feeling, you're going to give love to that child, right?
Right.
And you've been saying this to me a lot, this is like the one thing you're negative about, and looking at all the bad things, but this one's like a big, important decision. So all these other factors do play out. For sure, they all play out.
Yeah.
Like I was even thinking we have to get rid of our podcast studio. If we had another kid, this is where they'd have to stay.
Yeah, but stay.
They have to stay here and rent space.
No, like, but we have a space downstairs to build out a studio.
But we wouldn't be able to, because the financial piece of having a third child.
Unless we just...
And what you said, you want to go activate your career.
But do I?
But here's what you said, you want to be a contributor. And we would need some more contribution if we had a third kid.
Yeah.
I just got to grind, man. I got to go start driving Ubers around.
No, because I need help with the kids.
No, someone's got to go drive Ubers.
Just like sell stuff on Amazon.
Who's going to take the time to do that, Nikki?
Anyways.
So, I think the big things is, first we'll come back to it every single time. You got to be really open. I think we initially were trying to say maybe what the other person said or wanted to hear. I don't think we really were being honest with ourselves at first. Like when we each thought about it, it's like, I knew you wanted 3, right? You were kind of like, no, I know you might want 1 or don't. I think we were trying to appease the other person versus really going inward, like, what do we want?
So what do you want?
Yes.
You want 1.
I'm way more percentage no than yes.
What's your percentage?
Probably over 90.
That's still a huge...
That's not.
10%
I
you're
said
interested.
over 90. It could be 95. It could be 97. It could be 94.
Well, this is what I've decided. I'm giving myself
The puppy.
that, and then till 38.
Cool. So we got a little less than 2 years. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Give myself a chance with all
I'll be
the
like
things.
41.
My dad was 42.
I know, but then where do I go?
What?
Like when they're 18, I'll be almost 60. Right? Like, where will I be? So then I start thinking about my own mortality and like, how present can I be? Will I be able to be there for that child's grandkids? So I start thinking about that stuff.
My dad's around.
I know. I'm just saying. I know I take care of myself, but I start thinking about those things too.
Okay.
So
So what's your cutoff? 40?
I don't think I have a cutoff, man. I think I'm pretty much done.
It's like, that's what I need. I need a cut off. It's
Okay,
like, no.
We can talk about that off camera. Because we'll probably have this further conversation later.
I know. But like, I hate leaving this undone.
I know. You like things tied up nice in a bow and know what's happening.
Yeah.
But this is a decision that's really hard. I mean, you want to make a decision at some point.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is being really open, honest about yourself first. Like, what do you want? What do you envision?
And probably having these conversations multiple times.
Oh,
so
yeah, multiple times.
When you're dating, when you get, right before you get married, when you get married, when you have your first child. Like, because this, as you said, like, it
But I
does
even say multiple
change.
times when you're thinking, when you're in that moment. Because we've had this conversation how many times?
So many.
So many times. I think because I think in the beginning you're not sure. It's like you have to really sit time and reflect. And as I said, as an individual first.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to do something just for your partner because you still have to be there and raise that child. So what do you really want? I think things to think about is for sure financials, capacity, like how much energy do you have now, right?
I just see like pregnant women around and I'm like, I'm never going to be pregnant again. I'm never going to breastfeed again. I'm never going to have a newborn baby. Like I can still smell the NICU.
Yeah.
I'm never going to have that. And I wish that I had known that with Sydney, that we were done, because then I would have paid more attention. Like I breastfed Jake. I breastfed Jake for 13 months. Sydney, I breastfed for 6 months. And that was pumping because of her Nick.
You have this ideal state because you even said the same thing after Jake.
What?
How you wanted to be. Like I'm also saying that's being present is also going to be more challenging when you have 2 other kids that need your attention.
Yeah, I know.
So you have this ideal on what it's going to look like, but it never looks like how you expect it.
I know. And if Jake wasn't autistic, this would probably be.
And I think you have to think. I don't know if you have to, but I feel like think of all possibilities. And are you okay with all possibilities that could happen?
No.
But that's important. Like,
I don't want to die.
Well, okay, let's not go that extreme. But I'm saying just all the things that are possible. Like,
see, now it's crazy. So like we started this conversation, I was like, I really want 30.
And now I got you.
And now I'm like, I think I don't want to go through that again.
Yeah, and that's the point of this conversation is it's really going to go back and forth.
Yeah.
Because every moment you're having a hard day with the kids or a hard day with yourself, you're like, now. And then the other day, like, I've had the best day with my kids today. And you're like, I want another one. I want to have a best day with more kids, right? So, yeah, I don't think it's just an easy answer. Some people it's very simple for.
Yeah.
It's very simple to make that decision. But I think this is what I think to get a conclusion of this is if you're on the fence intuitively, like if you're you're teetering, right, just in general, that's when I think you go to the logical side and start looking at those things. Because you might be intuitively, no, I want another one. Don't even need to think about that. I want another kid, right? But then if you're like, I don't know.
Actually, you know what? Just to that point, I read in a quote the other day that says, if you're on the fence, it's a no. Because
I've also said that you need that fuck yes.
Like if it's not like you just said, if it's not like, no, I'm having a child, like that's like we knew no matter what we were having two.
Yeah, that
right?
wasn't even a question.
But this third, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
then it's a no.
It's a no.
Yeah.
It's a no.
Done, guys. We did it. We're not having a third kid.
We'll do another episode.
We're not having a third kid.
But like that is what I hear is, you know, like
because you don't want to bring a child into the world that you're like, yeah, I kind of wanted you.
No, you would never feel like that.
I know, but those thoughts are still there because those thoughts that are saying, I don't know if I want a second kid,
third,
or if I don't want a third kid, those things that are you're questioning it about, you will see those things happening.
Yeah,
you will see that. Oh, I knew I wasn't going to be able to take off in my career, or damn, I knew financially that was going to be challenging, and now I'm getting hit. Like those things will come up.
I know.
And then if you're okay with those things coming up because you're so yes,
right,
then it's okay because you were. I don't care. Yes.
Do you think it has to do with like I know a lot of people who have 2 or 3 or 4 kids, they came from really big families. Do you think that has something to do with it?
Yeah, I think, and the opposite could be true. Like you could have a family with kids and it wasn't a good family dynamic and you didn't have a good relationship with your siblings. So that can influence you not to have.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many factors. There's so many factors.
Do you
The
think
partner you meet, like
Yeah.
that could change just based off the partner you meet,
Yeah.
right? Based
I
on
know.
their needs.
Well, I knew a girl who like always envisioned having kids,
Yeah.
and then the partner she chose didn't want kids,
Yeah.
and now they're not having
Yeah,
kids.
if you really love that person and both of you, and it's very different on your expectation, but you want to be with that person, then that's also going to influence. So there's so many factors that go into it, but it's the dialogue that you have to have.
I don't have any judgment of people who don't want to have kids.
No, why would we judge them?
No, I just, it's fascinating.
I could see it though.
Why people choose not to?
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Well,
we'll let you know what we decide.
yeah.
It's most likely a no.
Sounds
but-
like a no. And
What?
I'm just messing around. I don't see how I like throwing Nikki off because she likes the bow tied. As much as I can cause confusion, it's fun. Any lasting words?
I think it's really that. Like, if you're on the fence with something, it is a no.
Every time? Because here's the one thing I would say to that. Depending if that's self or true self speaking,
Yeah.
or our beliefs, fears from other experiences, is that the reason?
See,
you're
I
opt
think
out?
intuition is self.
Yeah.
So
It is, and but you're saying usually your intuition isn't on the fence. Your intuition would be like, I don't know. Your intuition would be a yes or a no.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
But are you blocking your intuition because you don't have a clear yes or no? So that means your intuition's actually blocked.
I think it's a no.
You said you think.
I think it's a no because of mental health, physical health, career aspirations, wanting to invest in my children, being able to be super present in both of their lives, not feeling torn, ADHD, like it's a no. It's like letting go of this dream is so hard because it's like, will I regret it? What about when they're 25 and like I could have had one more baby? Like, you just think, and like, what if something happens to them? Like, what about the pressure that's going to be on Sydney? Like, we don't know what Jake's needs are going to be, right? Like, what is that going to look like?
And the other can be true, that it was the right number, and it's going to be amazing and great, and all the things we ever wanted. That is also true.
True.
So you gotta look at both sides always.
Yeah.
And which one feels right.
It's really tough.
I know. Probably the biggest decision we've ever had to make. I mean, it's a big decision. It's a big decision for anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start with the dog.
Yeah, let's start with the dog. See how that goes. Yeah. All right.
Thank
you guys for listening. Hope this was helpful.
They're probably just as confused.
Yeah, we're so confused. It kind of helped us, but maybe made us more confused. But that's the point why we want to have this conversation, because it's just not that easy. It's not that simple. But you got to have these conversations. And they might not always lead to a resolution at the end, but you got to have these conversations and be open, speak honestly. That's the only way it's going to work. And you're going to figure it out.
Yep.
Cool. Well, happy 4th of July. After 4th of July, because this is posting afterwards. Hope you guys had a great and safe one with your friends and families. Thank you for checking in. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.